When the snow melts each spring, it's easy to spot trash on the ground, in the woods and on the trails. But if you stumble upon bottles used to make meth, it can turn picking up garbage into a dangerous tragedy. Tonight, TV6's Sophie Erber, in the first of two parts, tells us what to do if you come across a meth dump site.
If you find something that you think might be related to meth, like a bottle with the rocks and sludge in it, or a Gatorade bottle with the right residue all inside, just call 911 and tell them who you are and what you found.
Marquette County Undersheriff Dan Willey has seen what he calls the meth problem spike and start a slow decline over the past few years. He says recent legislation limiting the amount of pseudoephedrine one can purchase has helped slow the pace of those cooking meth. But that also means small batches made in so-called one-pots during mobile cooks have become more popular.
I think there's people off in the woods on back trails and dirt roads that are cooking it and then just dumping on the side of the road or in the woods.
They'll stop and buy everything and they start cooking as soon as they get all the ingredients, and they'll just make a loop or whatever to do. And then when they get done with the cooking process and finishing it, once they get their meth, they'll just stop on the side of the road and dump everything out.
And if you're out hiking this spring or volunteering to clean up roadside trash, touching certain bottles or containers could mean exposing yourself to toxic chemicals. So what do you do?
Well, the first thing not to do is don't touch it, don't move it around.
Detective Sergeant Ron Koski says residual fumes that could still be in a one-pot can cause a spontaneous flash fire. All it takes is a little moisture when you open the bottle. And fire is not the only danger.
The HCl generator, the bottle with the tubes coming out of it, if you move that around, you could start producing hydrogen chloride gas, which will cause severe respiratory problems if you happen to inhale some of that.
And officers responding to the scene of a meth dump site run the same risk. Reporting in Marquette County, I'm Sophie Erber for TV6 News.
Tomorrow night, we take a look at the precautions officers take to safely clean up a meth site. We'll also break down the cost of cleanup, everything from the equipment it takes to time on the scene. That's tomorrow on your TV6 Early News. Discovering a meth site in the woods is dangerous. We told you about the toxic nature of the meth dump site last night. Tonight, TV6's Sophie Erber takes a look at the precautions officers take to safely clean up the drugs and how much it costs.
Just some of the items in this meth response trailer are what upset officers use to stay safe when cleaning up a meth site. Filled with everything from breathing apparatuses to flame-resistant suits, the UP has 3 of these trailers packed with tens of thousands of dollars of equipment. But Upper Michigan didn't always have these resources.
One of the big things why it was so expensive, every time we'd come across a meth lab or a meth dump site, we'd have to call a special hazmat transport crew.
But that's no longer the case.
Through the DEA and the Michigan State Police, there's been agreements under the container program, in which the state police has provided containers through DEA funding. They're strategically located throughout the state, and now members of UPSET, we've gone through the packaging school and extra training so that not only can we dismantle the labs, but then we can package it up and then we transport it to the containers.
The container for the UP is behind the Negaunee post of the Michigan State Police. Once it's filled with all the hazardous waste from multiple meth site cleanups, it's picked up and transported, organized by the DEA. It used to cost thousands of dollars more because without the secured storage container, pickup had to be scheduled after every meth cleanup, no matter how small.
So instead of coming up 3 times a week to pick up from 3 labs, they'll come up once a month, and so the costs have cut way down.
But Detective Koski says cleanup is still expensive, mainly because of high equipment costs and overtime pay.
Probably a dump site is a minimum of $500 every time. A meth lab can be anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 by the time you do all the paperwork and all the buckets that have to be replaced, because a lot of the buckets are one-time use and they're anywhere from $100 to $300 a piece. And then we have suits a lot of our suits are one-time each, and they're $150 to $300 a pop. We go through and wipe them all down with alcohol. It doesn't look that bad, and you think you can just throw it in some buckets, but all it takes is for one thing to go wrong, and then everything goes wrong.
Reporting in Marquette County, I'm Sophie Erber for TV6 News.